Fourth month of the year.
It's crazy.
What do we? Don't you go in like quarters in businesses?
Yes. So we've entered quarter number 2,
That's right.
the second quarter of 2024. So I want to know, are you doing your New Year's resolution still? Or did you fall off? No.
So we're here talking. No.
We're not talking. That's not what we're talking about today. It's a good question, though. Valid.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to be thinking about. Where are you at in your second quarter of the year? But today, we're here to talk about investing in yourself. So often, as business owners, you get caught up in investing and working on your business. But what about the business owner? The person who is at the top, making things happen.
Yep.
How are you still working on yourself to be able to expand what you know? Andre is someone who preaches this a lot, who's like, what are you doing to work on yourself?
Yeah.
Like, how are you working on yourself?
Yeah. It's real. And it's easy to spend money on things that we see of value. And so especially as business owners, maybe you need more product, or maybe you want to invest in marketing because you think marketing is going to get you more business. But oftentimes we neglect the most important place to invest, which is ourselves, in our own mind. And an organization will never grow past the capacity of a leader. And yet, if we're not investing in ourselves, we're going to be limited in our growth, in our ways of thinking. And so our organization, your business, will be limited to the capacity that you've expanded. So it's like,
That's right.
if you're not spending time on this, then you'll be stuck.
Yep.
And who are we, by the way? Because we just started talking.
Oh, yeah, we should introduce ourselves. All
And
right.
at this point, I'm like, I feel like everybody knows this.
Yeah.
But I'm Michelle Rea. I'm here with the Urban Impact eContact team.
Jaleel Vester, Business Education Coordinator.
And I'm Mara, Urban Impact's Economic Development Program Manager.
Come on.
Yeah. So, thinking about yourself and your own personal growth. I don't know if you had personal growth goals for the year or just business goals for the year, but it's time to reevaluate. This is Q2, right? How well did you do the first 3 months? You know, personal goals, personal successes, personal wins. It's time to think about that and celebrate the wins, you know?
That's good. That's actually really good. That you just made me think of, like, I don't know, taking a day or maybe a few hours to just journal, like, what were my wins for in the last 3 months? You know, because sometimes it can be so easy to obsess about the lows. But what were the wins? What went well? What helped me move forward? What conversations or people did I meet in the last 3 months that helped me move forward? That's actually a really good, I think that's a good, like, quarterly practice, I feel.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
It's the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, okay.
We're doing things right this year.
Come
so,
on.
Yeah, you have to assess.
I'm doing that.
Yep.
That's great. I'm learning, as we're talking to y'all, I'm learning things right here. Like, that's actually really good. I'm doing that for sure tonight. Yeah.
So in both of our programs, in our Sharks at the Beach program and in our Thrive program, everyone has access to coaches. Your assigned coaches, and then I think in Sharks at the Beach, you're assigned coaches. In Thrive, we do group coaching sessions. But there's one thing, one time Andre assigned me this assignment to go watch the Undercover Millionaire show.
Yeah.
And I had heard of it, but I think I watched an episode or two, but never a whole season. So I watched the whole season. And one thing stood out to me that in the first season that the entrepreneur did, he said he knew he had to surround himself by people smarter than him. So
good.
he just thought about, what are all the puzzle pieces that I need to run a successful business? I need somebody doing marketing. I need somebody, he ended up opening a restaurant. So he's like, I need someone running the kitchen. I need someone with the front of the house. So all these people who are experts.
Yeah.
He himself is not the expert in any of those things,
Wow.
but he's good at finding people who are good at what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that goes the same with coaches. It's like, find, and I was having this conversation with my cousin the other day. It's like, who do you want to be? And then she's all these things. I'm like, who do you know that is doing all of those things or some
we
of
go.
those things?
Yeah.
Reach out
There we
to
go.
them.
Yeah.
Get some mentorship from them. You know, get in contact with them. They have been through things that you're probably going to go through.
Come on.
That can counsel you through that. And there is a scripture in Proverbs 11:14.
Come on.
It says, "Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety." What do you guys think about that scripture? What comes to mind for you guys?
That's huge. In some translations, it says, in the multitude of wise counselors, there is safety. And I really love the placement of that word, because you can get counsel from a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that will offer you free broke advice. And if you live according to their free broke advice, you will find yourself broke. Okay? So it's like wise counselors, and just as you were saying, who in my life, or maybe not in my life, but who do I know that is living the life in some aspect that I want to live, and how can I get around that person?
Yeah.
You know, and I did a podcast a few weeks ago, and this scripture had come up, and I remember talking about how having people that are 10 steps ahead of me have exponentially helped my life. Like, I would not be who I am without people older than me, smarter than me, wiser than me, to help give me counsel on, hey, this is what you're thinking, but this is why you're thinking that. This is what you should do. Like, it's crazy how the quality of our decisions impacts the next steps in our life. It's almost like a game of chess. Like, this move right here is going to impact the next 3. And so when you have people that are ahead of you to help you process either how you're feeling or process your next decision, it's going to set you up 3 to 5 moves later down the line.
Yeah.
You know, so coaching people that are wise and smarter than me, and you have to be humble. You have to be humble to want to seek that out.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that, you know, you learn the hard way or the smart way. Some people just, you know, they're going to run into that brick wall 10 times, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, now I'm open to listening to advice.
I know a couple of those in my life.
Come on, you know, you tell them some 10,000 times, like, oh, okay, you're going to have to run through that brick wall and say, you guys see that fire's hot before you figure it out. But if you can be the person that's going to learn through someone else's experience, now you can, like, exponentially advance. It doesn't have to be your pain. You can learn through someone else's pain, you know?
That's right.
Well, when you think about your personal situation, who do you aspire to be? Is there anybody that stands out within your immediate reach? You know? Now, there's several individuals that inspire me, but there's very limited examples within my reach of who I aspire to be. But it's important that I identify that, you know? So it's up to each individual to pursue whatever goals that you have in life. But if there are examples, write that down. What is it? You know, what is it about them? What, you know, even like sometimes I'll use this as an example. When you come across a job opportunity, right? It might not be something that you're qualified to do right now, right? But it's always good practice to save that job description if there's certain things in there that are personal goals of yours, right? So you can custom create your path and be very strategic. If you want to be a leader, well, you probably will need to obtain the experience managing groups larger than 10. You know what I'm saying? There's just different skill sets that you can pull from, you know, different people at different statuses in different organizations that may be willing to, you know, have coffee or lunch with you so you can see, is this really the direction you want to go in? Because, you know, the choices you make, the investment of your time and your energy, you should get a return on your investment. So that's something you should reevaluate.
That's good.
Quarterly.
Come on.
So
Wow.
yesterday we talked about, in our Sharks at the Beach program, we talked about expenses,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like budgeting and finances in business.
Hmm.
Is that something that people should include in their finances?
A coach.
Like opportunities for like money, like you know how you set aside a budget for like marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a budget for for you to grow or for your team to grow.
Oh, I
You know what I'm
100%. 100%. And I would say like books. So I've got an Audible subscription. Okay, so that's like money set aside for that. Although someone put me on to like, there's this app that you can link in with the library and then be like
Yes.
getting books for free and audio's free. I'm like,
Oh, that's a good
what am I
one.
doing? Give my money to Amazon and I could be. But either way, I will say that there was so when I was in like corporate sales and stuff, we were in coaching, or I opted to be in coaching, and so I had to take a portion of my check to pay for that.
Oh.
And it was not like cheap, but I knew that if I did what they told me I needed to do, these are people that are farther than me, and they have what I want.
Right.
So I'm willing to take the deduction monthly out of my check, and there's no guarantee that's going to be replaced because it's going out.
Right.
They guaranteed they're going to get paid. I got to go hustle and make the money, but I know that
Yes.
if I do what they tell me to do,
Yes.
I'm going to get the result I want to get.
Absolutely.
And it's if everyone does that, like it could be a budget for books. Okay, I can get coaching out of this book.
Yeah.
Maybe the person you want, because I love how you were talking about identifying who do you want to be, like creating that job description for your life, like that whole concept right now. And I'm like, oh, that's good. That was juicy. So it's like, okay.
Mara's advanced.
Mara's that's an advanced coach, premium coach right there.
Okay.
All right, tap in. So if we're putting money, like if we're gonna put money aside for groceries to feed our bodies,
Right.
how much more important is it to put money aside to feed our minds?
Okay. Bars.
For sure.
With the bars over here. We've got the wisdom over here.
Come on, and the great questions over here. No, you got the
And
questions.
the smiles.
Hey, you know what? They say that it's if you want to know a person, it's not the answers that they give, but the quality of questions that they ask that indicates a level of wisdom. So don't sleep on your questions. All right, Michelle with the questions. All right, that's really so. I kind of want to know. Have you guys had someone in your lives that has coached you, that has helped you like overcome something? Whereas if you didn't have that person, life would have been harder?
For sure. I mean, my mentor, since I was a teen, you know, not only has shown by example, which is, I think, the most important the coach can do for you is be that constant factor. It's positive, forward producing, you know, and coachable themselves, right? Because we learn from each other.
Yeah.
Right. I will never forget the conversation that we had when I was in high school when she told me you can't do everything. Well, I'm a teenager. So I'm like, what do you mean I can't do everything? I'm going to show you.
Uh-huh.
Like I can run circles.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, so right then, you know, I assessed, am I willing to put in the effort to do this? Right? Because I could have been like, oh, that's what you say, take it at face value. However, I wanted more. And I identified that in myself early on. So I surround myself with people that are movers and shakers. And so, yes, thank you for telling me that the average person probably should choose one area to specialize in. But we're talking about beauty industry. So when you're going into it, you already know that it's all about advanced training, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get what you need from beauty school to sustain a whole career, right? So off top, I knew I have to go pursue where I want to master things, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, it was updos, right? You know, everybody has prom and special
Yep.
occasion
Okay, yeah.
and wedding season is always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to master being able to do thick, coarse hair.
Mm.
You know, it's hard for somebody to do something that lasts all day, right? So I mastered that and other techniques. But, you know, it's a matter of remaining coachable. So you have to train yourself to know that it's what you put into it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might need a reminder from your coach. And so finding somebody that is going to be there and you're open to receive criticism, that's my source right
That's-
there. Somebody you trust.
At what point were you open to receive criticism from this person? Because for a coach to be effective, I believe they have to be real with you and disappoint you. We actually have a guy in our organization, shout out to Javon, he did this Facebook post and it impressed me. And he said that leadership is the ability to disappoint someone at the rate that they can handle. And I thought that was very insightful. So at what point were you willing to receive some disappointment or some critique from this coach?
Well, I think in that example, you know, itself, because I mean, I wasn't disappointed in them, you know, but they did show me that they felt I had limits. So it was up to me to challenge myself,
Yeah.
right?
that's
To
good.
do what I needed to do if I wanted to get that outcome,
Yeah.
right? And I totally trusted, you know, this
That's really
person
good.
because they showed me everything I needed to see. It can be done,
Yeah.
right? You're an award-winning, published,
Yeah.
thriving business owner that lasted for decades. That's the goal,
Yeah.
right? But I want to do it my way,
Yeah.
right? So I can fall into your mold,
Mm.
right? With your support and coaching, but also with your support, I can take it to the next level and really
That's
make you
powerful.
proud. And that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to do.
That's powerful. That's actually, there's multiple things there because there's the element of this person is credible, they live the life, so they can speak from a place of authority. You trusted them, so they showed you that they love you and they've got your back. They're here for you. At the same time, you took, like you ate the meat, spit out the bones. So you took the advice and the wisdom, but you also paved your own path and said, okay, I'm gonna challenge this. Like your word isn't everything. It's helpful, but you saw something that they couldn't see for yourself.
Yeah.
And then so now it was a choice of, am I going to rise to the occasion to build the path that I can see? Or am I going to keep myself confined to the limit that my coach placed on me? Which is huge because the coach is there to help you and you should seek that help. At the same time, you were self-aware enough about yourself and confident in your ability to say, thank you for this. I'm going to take this. However, there is a path that you can't see that I can see, and I'm gonna show you.
Right.
And I think that's really huge.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's up to the individual. Like I said, some people, you know, want to be go-getters. Some people want to be trendsetters. Some people want to just blend in with the masses. And, you know, it's to each individual's preference. However, you know, my love for people kept me going. Because in this instance, I think she was probably referring to you need to pick if you want to do this in the commercial industry, right? Because back then, they hired you to either do hair, either do makeup, either do wardrobing, right? They weren't
Okay.
hiring you to do it
Multiple
all,
things, yeah.
right? And so I thought that was very limiting. So I did a little bit of commercial and I did a little bit of civilian, right? I always had a salon where I could do my people,
Yeah.
right? For my community. But, you know, that runway and photo shoot money is good too.
Yeah.
Right? So knowing a little bit about everything, I mean, I called it being nosy. Now we call it being analytical. But yeah, until you experience the different areas of your industry, you really are ignorant to the potential.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been blessed enough to be able to experience a lot in my years of
Yeah.
doing hair and makeup. I've done hair shows, I've done television shows, I've done
Come on.
fashion shows, I've managed staffs. Like it's very rewarding. So you just
Yeah.
gotta find your place.
That's sweet. I like your, just side comment before we go to our next thing, but I like the business model you paved because you ultimately, like, with common customers, quote unquote, you created quick money in a sense that's like repetitive cash flow. But then the commercial projects and the big stuff and the hair shows, that's like big money. So you like created a model where you're always getting paid, but then you get big checks too at the same time. Like that's, and then someone that's only in one area is not going to creatively think about
Right.
that. So your coach will have their own flaws and their own perspective as well. However, you can take what is helpful and useful, and then it's having that conversation is going to get you a lot farther than you talking to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. And I want to talk about how sometimes, you know, we were just talking about this, how some of our entrepreneurs don't always see eye to eye with the coaches that they're matched with, you know? And that goes back to one of the biggest things, you have to remain coachable.
Right.
I mean, and even if you don't see eye to eye, like in Mara's story, you can still take something from it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the biggest piece about remaining coachable.
Yeah.
I remember one thing I wanted to touch on is mental health coaches. You know, some people call them therapists. Some people call them counselors.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them. They're also mental health coaches.
Come on.
They studied this for a reason. They know stuff about the human mind and the human body that we don't, that those who haven't studied it don't know. I remember I was going through a really tough time, and I would drag my feet to counseling. I'd drag my feet to see my therapist. I would hide from her. I literally wouldn't answer emails or calls. And then I just started going. And maybe about a couple months in, I understood. Like, it was just like she was providing ways for me to identify what I was going through that I didn't even know how to put into words.
Wow.
So again, it's this knowledge that these people have that you don't have yet. So you can't, you know, who knows how long I would have been going through what I was going through if it wasn't for the counsel of my mental health coach, as I call it.
Yeah.
Just recently, I started going to one again, and my very first session with her, again, it's like one of those things, like, how many things do I pay for in life? I'll go to the mall and spend money that I could have spent on my mental health
On
coach.
your brain, the most valuable thing we got.
Yes, and
Come on.
she said something to me at the end of that first session together that I think about every day.
Wow.
So if it wasn't for that session that I invested in, my mind would have still been there. Man. I'm now, you know, we talk about where are you in quarter two. How are you investing to get from those goals you wrote at the beginning of the year to when you close out at the end of the year? How are you going to get there? Where are you putting your money so that you get there? And one of the recent things that I've heard from I've been listening to a lot about, like, you know, investing and stuff. And everything that they always say, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you don't spend. And I'm just thinking about, like, you know, and they talk about, like, good debt and bad debt too. Okay? So think about, where do you actually put your money? Is it that you know, I don't know, you buy a whole bunch of stuff you don't really actually need? You know, just, this could be a good time to sit down and think about, where is my money going? Where is and another thing is, time is money. You know, where is your time going?
Yep.
You know, how are you spending all of these things to get to the goal, to meet the goals that you set for yourself come up at the end of quarter four?
Come on. I have a whole, like, stream of thoughts, but I want to ask, what was it for you? And you know, as much as you're willing to share for the people, but what was it for you that got you over the hump to say, yes, I do need to talk to my mental health coach? Because they're reaching out, and then there's a moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to pull that trigger. I'm going to do this.
Well, in that case, when I was younger, it was just that I had to do it in order to get another privilege. So it was kind of like
incentivized.
But this time around, as now I'm older and I can make this decision for myself, and I'm the one paying for these things. I just understood that I was only going to make it so far being by myself. So I'm a huge journaler, and I journal daily and I write my thoughts out. But and this happens with entrepreneurs as well, I think. And I've met so many of them that are in our Sharks at the Beach program, even in our Thrive program. They're so up here that it's hard to get beyond that. So I realized, like, okay, I got to talk these things out with somebody.
Yeah.
I can't just talk these things out with myself anymore. I'm only going to get so far in analyzing and what I'm going. And I'm telling you, every session I go through with this woman, she's like, well, that's what this is called. And that's why you do this, because of when you used to do it at this age. You've been conditioned to do these things. So, and then that's another thing a lot of successful entrepreneurs say. You have to be able to unlearn and relearn.
Yeah,
I learned that when I was in college.
Wow.
I realized that, like, I've learned all of these things in life. And okay, some of them are cool, but a lot of them, I need to unlearn these. I got to relearn some things.
Come on.
And if you don't understand what things you're doing in your life that are harmful, a mental health coach will get you to understand what some of those patterns are. And if you don't realize what those patterns are, you can't break them. You can't break out of them.
Yeah.
You can't grow. You're only, it's like we were talking about this last week about pets and animals that are put in like small.
Come on.
In small, like turtles. Turtles only grow as big as
the tank.
Their tank.
Yeah.
So
the environment.
As turtles are growing, as they're getting older, every year goes by, their tank has to get bigger and bigger and bigger for them to actually grow.
Come on.
If your tank is this tiny,
your environment will limit your growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Period.
So who are you surrounding yourself around that'll help grow that tank?
Yeah.
So you won't be,
That's huge. And I even think of like just practical, real life examples of people that are at the pinnacle of their performance. Tiger Woods. His father had a vision for him before he was even born. And then that young baby was born, and I remember reading a story where his mom would have to feed him in between so his dad would bring him to the garage and he's practicing these strokes, right? Just hitting the ball into the net in the garage. And Tiger, as a baby, was fixated on his dad's swinging that golf club. And his mom would have to feed him in between swings.
Wow.
In between swings. And she just knew this baby is different. And then from a young age, his father just cultivated him, even brought him to like SEAL training to help train his mind, tell him all kind of things, created all these scenarios and stuff.
Wow.
And literally, he is known internationally. You look at Venus and Serena Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Their father had a vision for them, right? From a young age. Coached them, prepared them, internationally known. And so it's like, how are these people so great? They were coached and developed from childhood to master a craft. And so imagine where you could be if you get with somebody that can help. You look at characters in the Bible. Now my brain's going off, right? You've got David, okay? King David, known, all right? Jesus is within King David's lineage. After King David, you have Solomon, wisest man on the earth. Boom, set up. You got Moses, right? God led him out, and he led the people out of Israel, and his father Jethro helped him out while he was managing. And then who took over after Moses? Joshua. Boom. So now he took him out of struggle and survival around this desert. They're just going around 40 years, and now they're in the promised land. Moses' time is over, and then Joshua's taken them to help them thrive. They were surviving, and now they're going to thrive in the promised land. So it's
Yeah.
like, but Joshua couldn't have been Joshua if Moses wasn't Moses. And so it's like, who is that person for you? Who's that Moses for you that's going to get you to the promised land so you can take it to the next level? You got to find that person. But it starts with knowing, like Mara said, what do you want? What do you want this life that you want to look for? And you can get coaching in all kind of spaces. Mental health, finances, business,
There you go.
relationships. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are people on this earth, and I feel like God did this for a reason. We all got these perspectives,
Man.
abilities. You know, your person that coaches you and your mental health might not be your business coach. All right? They're probably not all going to be the same person. There's might be people with multiple skills, but there are multiple people on this earth for a reason.
Yeah.
So you can find who you need to connect with and then grow up and blow up.
Yeah. And it could be fun. Go walk on a nice sunny day, get a nice drink,
Come
like
on.
an iced tea or a latte, whatever it is.
Let's go.
Take a walk and chat with them. Go to
Walking
lunch.
meeting. Come on. Lunch
You
meeting.
know, go to breakfast, go to brunch.
I got a skating meeting coming up on Sunday.
You've got a skating meeting.
That's all you skate.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, so just remember, it's all about the end result, right? I'll just put myself out there before we wrap, because we do want to encourage economic development. That's what we do here at Urban Impact. And so where I'm at right now, I have never been, right? But I still am operating as a self-employed individual, right? I've never ran a corporation. I've never ran a multi-million-dollar company, but that is the goal, right? So I'm going to need to reach out to a financial coach to change my mindset, right? Because until you take yourself out of the business, it's not a business, right?
Come
I'm blessed, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I can feed myself, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for the gifts that I've been given. However, if I really want to change lives and create jobs, I'm going to have to utilize the knowledge of somebody that's done it before,
Come on.
right? No ego in that recipe.
Come on.
Yes. And those people, most of the time, they want to help you.
Bingo.
You know, one thing my cousin told me when I was in college, just starting out, I think my freshman year, I went to go visit him. He said, always have a mentor and always be mentoring somebody.
Come on.
There you go.
That's a
Always
recipe.
be growing and be sharing that back to somebody. So,
Come on.
if there's
Perfect.
anything to
That's a
leave
bar.
you with, that's it. We love spending time with y'all.
Yes.
We love sharing what we know with you guys. We want you all to join us in our programs. If you see yourself
Come get some coaching.
feeling like you need some coaching, you want to get connected with our coaches, reach out to us at econdev@urbanimpactseattle.org. Keep watching us on Fridays. Keep sharing, subscribe, all the YouTube things. And we have our Sharks of the Beach pitch competition coming up at 5:30 p.m. on May 28th. Is a Tuesday here at ECBF. So come and join us. We would love to have you. And that's kind of all my announcements.
Hey, happy Friday.
All right. We have a night of impact as well. All right. Urban Impact. We do a lot of things. We're going to raise $250K. So that's May 3rd. If you want to partner with the work or you've been impacted by the work, then this is your invitation. So go to our website, urbanimpactseattle.org, and you'll be able to find your link to register for that event there.
Yes,
All right.
join us. It'll be a fun. We'll be kind of dressy.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a gala. So come
Hello.
look nice.
Hey.
All right,
Come hang
refined,
out, have dinner,
foncé.
learn about what we do, partner with us. You've been impacted and you just want to be in the room with the people who have helped impact.
Come to the room.
Just come to the room. Come hang out with us.
All right, we can go see
Come
y'all.
be dancing.
Till next time.